to my dungeon.
Welcome to Cauldron's Krypt. I'm your host, Master Cauldron. If you're new to the show, I use my 23 years of BDSM experience and 20 years of working in the psychology field to dispel myths, get rid of stereotypes, and answer your questions about BDSM. You can call in at 865-268-4005 to leave your questions or visit the Krypt at cauldronskrypt.com. On this episode of the Krypt, I have a FET article and a private FET message from a listener who's given me permission to read it here about DOMs using safe words. And then I'm going to talk about the importance of the Dominance Bill of Rights. Everyone's always talking about the Submissives Bill of Rights, but as a dominant, we have rights too. So let's hit those rules to love by and then jump on into this article. So rule number 1, safe, sane, consensual, and informed. Rule number 2, kinky. That's KNKI and comes from the KNKI app, available on all platforms. Not a sponsor, but it does stand for knowledge, no intolerance, kindness, and integrity. Rule number 3, submission is not about authority and it's not about obedience. It is all about relationships of love and respect. That is a quote from Mr. Paul Young. All right, on to this article, and the link for this, if you are a member of fetlife.com, is in the show notes. If you're not, you'll have to become a member before you can go directly to this article and read the chatter, which is phenomenal. If you cannot swipe up, down, left, or right in your podcatcher, go to cauldronskrypt.com/204, and the show notes will be posted there. This comes from a Mischief Managed, and I actually read this article about 30 minutes. It came up on my feed about 30 minutes after the message that I'm going to share with you as well. And I contacted both of these fine individuals, and they said that I could use these. So this is used with permission, but this article reads as follows. So I was watching a scene in a play space, and I heard something I've never expected. In the middle of a scene, a dominant safe-worded. He called Red and said that he'd like to stop. What I saw next nearly floored me and hasn't set well since. The submissive turned around furious and said, "You can't do that. Only I can safe word." She went on shouting about how only submissives have that power and that it's not like she's doing anything to him that he has the right to safe word for. After more yelling, she stormed off, leaving him in the middle of the room, probably stunned, shocked at what happened. I'm not sure what exactly infuriated me the most about watching that unfold in front of me. It could have been the total lack of respect, or the feeling like she's treating that dominant like some kinky vending machine, that after negotiation, that he somehow owed her to give her what she wanted. I didn't want to share this moment when I was in the middle of it. I needed time to process it, to decompress it all. It's been a good while between then and now, and I've been sitting here at my computer thinking about what happened that night. Sitting here wondering if this is part of telling people that submissives have all the power, that they can stop a scene whenever they want with a safe word, when in reality, both parties have the power to stop a scene. If they feel it isn't what they want, if they feel unsafe, or if they simply don't feel like continuing for whatever reason. Maybe that night, the dominant felt sick, or something triggered inside of him, putting him in a really bad space to play with someone. Maybe he needed a break because of a muscle cramp, injury, or any number of things that would make it a bad idea to continue. Or maybe he just didn't feel like it anymore. Thinking back to that night, it would have been such a different story if she tried to connect and communicate, to ask him why he felt like he needed to stop. It could have been a beautiful moment, teaching everyone watching how that care and concern flows both ways. And that's the end of the article. And for long-term listeners, you know that I've discussed this before. I've ended scenes, called scenes 99% more than submissives have that I've played with are bottoms. Dominance, it's kind of our job to read who we're playing with, read the scene, and know when is it time to call it. Now, granted, usually when you do that, you're doing it because the person's body is exhausted. You know that they can't take it anymore. They've orgasmed, maybe multiple times. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of reasons why I've ended scenes, and I have ended in the middle of them. And there have been times that all of these things that he wrote about, the mischief managed wrote about, that apply. I just wasn't feeling it. Something triggered me. And those are two different things. I just wasn't feeling it, period. Something triggered me, period. I needed to decompress. I brought the outside world into the scene. That was something that I used to do really bad, a lot. And of course you carry it with you, and that's part of the joy of the scene, is being able to release that. But when it's your focus, when you don't even see the person that's in front of you that you're playing with, and it's someone that you're angry with, then you need to stop. I'm going to address this a little bit more. I want to go ahead and get into this other article. This one came from a listener who wishes to remain anonymous, but as I said, did give me permission, and this was a direct message that came in 30 minutes prior to this other article popping up in my feed. And they said, you have brought up multiple times on your podcast that you've called an end to a scene far more times as the top than the bottoms ever have. I just wanted to reach out and reiterate the importance of this once again. My sub and I hadn't done much of a scene in the last few months due to schedules. We had done a couple of shorter scenes at parties, and we had done lots of rope suspensions recently, but nothing extreme. So yesterday, we set some time aside for date night and had negotiated a predicament, impact, and sensation. However, we started the night with a suspension, and that suspension didn't go well. She was in pain, but not alluding to where or what despite my asking. She insisted we just push through, finish what I was planning, and bring her down. The thing was, I hadn't actually planned anything for this session. I was going to bring her up and play around with positioning and how the arms and legs were tied. So I brought her down and did a TK instead of a hands-free harness to take some weight off the ribs, which she had vaguely alluded was an issue. She did not state that there were issues with the hip harness at this time. Up she went again with the same problem as there was no communication to fix everything. I was frustrated and I snapped at her. It was just one sentence and I calmed down after. She left the room to make a call she had scheduled, and I cleaned up the rope. When I was done, I apologized for my outburst as I was out of line. She was clearly not in a good headspace at this point, and with all my great domly instincts, I knew to check in with her regarding the upcoming scene. So they were going from a rope scene into other things at this point, with a brief break in between for her to make a scheduled call. He doesn't say safe call. But okay, so she was clearly not in a good headspace at this point, and with all my great domly instincts, I knew to check in with her regarding the upcoming scene. I did so. I asked her if she was okay to continue. She assured me that she was. I think I even asked a second time. I knew. I could tell. She was not in a great place. But it had been a while since we did a scene, and she said she was fine, so I let her reassurance override my instincts, and we proceeded to do the scene. My earlier outburst, I had put her into a place of trauma. She was shut down and simply allowing me to do whatever I wanted, as is her way in that headspace. Not a healthy place. Not subspace. Not submitting. Enduring the pain to get through. I've been there, and that's not a good feeling. It brings chills to me as I sit here reading this for you. Enduring the pain to get through, not subspace, not submitting, followed by a walling off. So she just shut down. Now we get through this and I learn and grow. But had I trusted my instincts and called Red on the scene before it started, it would have prevented a lot of emotional pain. As the top, I should have known better, especially knowing her as well as I do. She simply is not able to say no at times, and I need to be able to be that voice of reason. First off, I want to say to you, thank you both for writing this article and this message to me. It does mean a lot when someone shares such intimate details, and it's crushing. This last one, to be used as a tale of caution. I've been there before, and most people won't make this mistake more than once or twice. It's hard to get through. It hurts because you've hurt someone in a way that was completely unintentional, in a way that you knew better, but you used the word trauma in there, and that lets me know just how serious you take this. And your remorse is certainly in this, but it's not 100% your fault, first off. I hope that by now both of you have claimed responsibility, and that not only have you forgiven each other, but you've forgiven yourselves. That's often the hardest part. I've heard over and over people in therapy. They initially start out in therapy to forgive a parent or someone who has hurt them. And then it always ends in them having to forgive themselves for mistakes that they've made because of that hatred or that hurt that they've carried around. And that takes the longest time. And that's the thing that people are usually blocked from, that it's often so difficult to have that psychological breakthrough to forgive yourself. But that is absolutely the most important part of the process. So find that it's okay. It's not an uncommon mistake. Mistakes are going to happen. It's part of the process. And that you absolutely, I can tell again from this initial message that you sent me and from our talk since, that it's something that's going to stick with you for a long time. So I hope that by now, like I said, you two have forgiven yourselves and each other, and you're able to move on from this. But that brings me to a point with these two articles. One person is a bystander and a witness to something that is just completely unacceptable. And then another person offering personal message of warning to follow their instincts and to pay closer attention. And he doesn't say it other than it had been a while since they had had any kind of play other than rope, but there's always that excitement there and that wanting to kind of stick with the plan. You don't have to. You don't have to. But in these things, it really made me think, there's a lot of conversation for those of you who are not so new about the submissive Bill of Rights. And what is the submissive Bill of Rights? Why is it so important that they have their own Bill of Rights? Well, it's just as important for the dominant. So instead of saying the submissive Bill of Rights, let's call it the Dom Sub Bill of Rights. I've seen these printed out in some dungeons as the Sub's Bill of Rights. So here it is. It's 10 or 11 things, but this applies just as much to the dominant as it does the submissive. And please take these to heart. Number 1, the right to be treated with respect. We all have that right. Even if we don't deserve it, we have the right to be treated with respect. And I know a lot of people, and I've been that person that didn't deserve it. But in my case, and in a lot of others that I've interacted with, when it was still given, I became that person that deserved it in that moment. I realized I was the one in the wrong. Some people get it, other people don't, but dominants and submissives have the right to be treated with respect. Number 2, the right to be proud of what you are. Don't ever let anyone shame you for any reason, no matter what your kink is. With a few exceptions. One of those is pedophilia, murder. I do draw the line there. But, in healthy society, there are things that are acceptable and things that are not. And as a kinky community, we're into a lot of things that are not acceptable in society. But don't be ashamed of that. Be proud of who you are. I've met so many different people, and being from the South, basically, I've traveled all over the country and into a few other countries, but the South specifically, unfortunately, is still a few decades behind in some of its thought process, as are people in other parts of the country and other parts of the world. There's religious persecution. There's persecution based on ancient religious beliefs. And don't let that get to you. And it's a shame that in 2018, we have to say that we have to find strength in numbers at times, that we have to turn to others for support just to be the person that we are, just to have the fetishes that we have. But that's what our community is for. Number 3, the right to safety. Look, that dominant in that article could have felt unsafe. We don't know. We don't know why he called red in the middle of the scene. But if that was the issue, he had every right to call red. Everyone has the right to safety. That's certainly one of, I'd say one of the most important ones, because all of these are so important. Number 4, the right to your emotions and feelings. You do. That is very important to be able to express those. Even in TPE, now there are some people that I know that would completely disagree with that, and that's their BDSM. I know some Gorian people, or people who live the Gorian lifestyle, who certainly don't feel that way. That are like Kajori, forgive me, those of you who are. It's 2:30 in the morning for not remembering that. That is not my lifestyle. So, but yes, everyone does have the right to their emotions and feelings, and they're going to have them. You can't take them away. I don't care what kind of TPE or what kind of lifestyle you live. You can't take those away from somebody. You can manipulate them and change them. Or, as I prefer, help people learn and educate and grow and become a better person, but not through the means of manipulation or closing someone off. The right to express those feelings in a safe manner. In a safe manner, to me, and I'm not into saying really negative things about these, and this isn't about this, but it's more about a safe manner does not mean screaming and yelling at me or at someone else. Because I've had someone throw that at me. My submissive Bill of Rights says I have the right to express my feelings. Yes, it does, in a safe manner. And let's do that as maturely as possible. And if this is as mature as is possible for you right now, then let's hold off on that conversation. The right to say no. That's pretty simple. The right to say no. The right to expect happiness in life. Now, I believe that everyone does have the right to expect happiness, but I believe that we also have to work for it. You can't just go out if you've got a contract with somebody, and you can't just break that contract and expect to be happy when you get caught. Or maybe you can. Maybe that's your game. But chances are, not going to happen. So that one I would certainly word a different way, but it absolutely does not say deserves happiness. You expect happiness in life. The right to belong. That's this community. That's what we should be about. I about flipped out the other day because I got on FetLife and somebody was being slut shamed and I just lost it. Like I had to take a breath. I'm like, you know what? Anywhere else, it's not acceptable there. Like, how could this person think that it was acceptable on there, at a place like that? Those notions just need to go away. We all have the right to belong, the right to love and be loved. No, we absolutely do. We have the right to be healthy, and we have the right to practice safe sex. Submissives, don't allow yourselves to get into subspace and do something that you don't want to do. Dominance, don't allow yourself to get into dom space or top space. And because she doesn't like the feeling of a condom, okay, we have that right to practice safe sex. Or, people don't talk about like dental dam enough. You want throat cancer from HPV? Because it's very easy to catch in your mouth and then it causes throat cancer. I was watching a special about Farrah Fawcett today, and they determined that her rectal cancer was caused by HPV, which kind of felt bad for her, even though she's dead and gone. They're basically outing her sex life by declaring that she got this sexually transmitted disease and it was due to anal sex. But anyway, again, all of these things are rights. They're not guarantees. Some of them are things that, yes, we should absolutely demand, like the right to say no, the right to safety, the right to practice safe sex. Others are things that are expectations, things that we can strive for. But really quick, the right to be treated with respect, the right to be proud of what you are and who you are, the right to safety, the right to your emotions and feelings, the right to express those feelings in a safe manner, the right to say no, the right to expect happiness in life, the right to belong, the right to love and be loved, the right to be healthy, and the right to practice safe sex. All right. So, dominance, submissives, we are on equal but opposite playing fields. It's not a battle between us. It's a game that we play together for the same purpose, and we can both be winners. And don't let there be any losers in this game. Remember, it's a role play. We cannot maintain, most people, and I mean, if you're sitting there and you think that you can, chances are you can't. Everybody wants to think that they're the exception to the rule. But I'm telling you, I'm not the exception. I used to think that I was. But we can't play this game 24/7. There's going to be times where you just got to snuggle up on the couch and eat some popcorn out of the same bowl and maybe even share a drink and watch a movie and allow him or her to call you by your first name. If not during some time like that, then what happens if you're in surgery or something? Oh, I'm never allowed to use Sir's name. Oh, well, who are you here to see? Well, I'm not allowed to use Sir's name. I've actually ran into that before. And yes, it really is that freaking ridiculous. Come on, you're at a hospital. She literally wrote it down because she wouldn't use his name. Some people would commend her for the dedication of that. I don't know. Mixed feelings there. Personally, to me, even somebody who appreciates high protocol, to me, I wouldn't expect that. I mean, I don't know. Commend her for going above and beyond. I don't know. Mixed feelings about it because I don't want to sound like I'm shaming her for being who she is, because I'm not. That's not my intention. It's kind of thought provoking to me in a strange way. But guys, it's going to be a quick episode. I'm going to wrap it up for those of you who have made it to the end, I do need to say something about Patreon. As of tonight, I've started journaling on there for play parties. So this weekend I had some play, and tonight I posted a video talking about my play, Scenes of the Dungeon. So I'm going to do this. So you'll get these at least once a month, if not weekly. If you want to see those, you have to become a patron supporter. So it's a minimum of $1 a month for the junior producer spot. I want there to be some special content out there just for those of you that open up to that. And, if you're not a patron supporter, you want to pay $1 a month to, that's $12 a year to watch my videos there. Please, by all means, there'll be a link to that in the show notes, or go to cauldronskrypt.com/204 if you don't have it, the direct link in your podcatcher. And on those producers, I would like to thank our executive producers, Jeremiah, Silas, Jess, and Arcane Dagger, and Violet Atrelia. Senior producers, Matt and Emerald Wolf. Producers, Kane Sin, Heather That Place in Oklahoma City, JK and Roxy Bear. Junior producers, K2SO, who was my very first producer. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again soon up in Kentucky. Buffalo Dom 84, Payne Waits, and then, of course, Master Ferguson and Leigh Sumi. You guys are all awesome. Thank you so very much. If you'd like to become one of those show producers, again, cauldronskrypt.com/support, and that'll take you to the Patreon link. Whippingstripes.com, my personal maker of all things leather and paracord impact. She is amazing. And finally, if you want a BDSM contract, whether it's dominant, submissive, master, slave, owner, property, go to bdsmcontracts.org. Use the coupon code Cauldron20. You'll get a 20% discount off of all purchases. Next time on the Krypt, I'm going to be talking about how to remain kinky for the holidays. You're going to be around a lot of vanillas more than likely, and I'm going to try to give you a few suggestions to help you out to keep that roll going around people that won't have any idea what you're actually doing at that point. We don't need to put on a big show and well, this is who I am for our family. It'd be nice if they'd accept us, but one of the codes, harm none, is a great credo to follow. My mother, if she knew everything about my life, she'd probably die of a heart attack. I choose to live completely out in the open. I have videos on YouTube, but she's the one person that I am not out to. And every other member of my family knows. But anyway, so hopefully that will give you some tips and tricks, and will help you out. Let me know what you think. Go to fetlife.com and search for Cauldron. You'll find our listener group. Give me some topics. Give me things to talk about, and I'll be right here for you every other week. If not weekly, I'm going to try to get back onto a weekly schedule at some point. Thank you so much for listening till the end. This has been Master Cauldron for cauldronskrypt.com. Unearth the truth.